All right, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here. If you know who I am, awesome. Glad you're here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Fletcher, and the reason why I'm making this video or creating this channel, like what I like to do and what I typically talk about, is basically building my lifestyle business. And the reason why I'm able to do that in real time. Right now, you might see that I have like 3 followers, but that's okay, or 3 subscribers. That's okay. This is a process. I'm doing this in real time. Over the past 15, 20 years or so, I was able to go through a lot of hurdles in my life. I started off working offshore on tugboats, and then I got a position at a multi-million-dollar sports brand, doing all of that without having any college degree or even finishing high school. So you can imagine how many limiting beliefs that I had and I overcame. I basically talk about the limiting beliefs, and I also have about 10 years experience in marketing, and there's a lot of like nuances and there's a lot of systems and processes that go in with marketing, one of them being creating content, email content, and at the same time it's really kind of the same thing. You just build out systems, which I already have. Basically, learning from my identity transformation and then learning from all of the experience I have from doing all the marketing stuff. So I'm basically taking all that information and all of that experience and then using it to build my own business. These businesses are out there creating content, building multi-million-dollar brands, and so based off of marketing and and some sales, you know what I mean. So it's pretty incredible. And so today I'm wanting to kind of talk about basically starting from zero, which everybody does, but then I want to make sure that like because I thought that you needed like all these views, you needed like 100K subscribers to like build this business, right? And that's just not true, especially and I truly believe that, like, yeah, like there's that cliche, like I need 10 was it 10,000 a month or whatever, but you work towards that, you know what I mean? And I truly believe people could actually sustain themselves with less than that. And so I'm not saying like aim low or anything by any means, but you definitely can do a lot more with your business, making 3,000 a month, 4,000 a month, 5,000 a month. You know what I mean? And then if you're able to make that kind of income and sustain yourself full time, then you're just going to be able to like just do that full time. And then if you're doing it full time, it's inevitable you'd be able to make more money because you're putting in more time, you're putting in more videos or whatever it might be, posting more, and just over time it will grow. And so that's sort of my claim, is that you don't need 100,000 subscribers to build this lifestyle. I'm living by design and not by default, by creating content and finding 1,000 people on the internet that resonate with my story, resonate with my experience, and sort of helping them, guiding them through my experience. And so for me, this happened to me not too long ago. And so again, as a reminder, I don't have a college degree and I didn't finish high school. So there's a lot of like limiting beliefs there, not directly towards me, but society says, "Oh, you're an idiot. You didn't, graduate high school. Like, you're not going to make anything of yourself." And so it was kind of it was heavy, and I had to kind of overcome that. I had to deal with that and kind of figure out and navigate that. And and within the last 15, 20 years, I was able to sort of kind of get that out of my head. I have done basically everything you can name. I've walked dogs. I've worked at a restaurant. I worked on pumps. I've worked offshore. You know, did a little bit of coding, marketing, and marketing is the one that stuck. And so I just kind of stuck with that and ran with it. But and so just over time, I just started kind of like getting better and better at email marketing specifically. And I was on Twitter, and for me to get from where I was at, which was like kind of freelancing, which is kind of what I'm doing now, but in a way better situation. But I basically was freelancing and I was looking for some more work, and I got on Twitter and I was just kind of trying to just build relationships. And I've done this in the past. I've gotten some really good relationships by kind of just trying and reaching out to people. And I've connected with some really cool people, some mentors that have changed my life. But this specific one was interesting. It was on Twitter, and really like what I'm getting at is that you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. You don't need to be an influencer. You just need to build real relationships at the end of the day. And so that's what I did. And that's what I did to get to that multi-million-dollar sports brand. I was able to land a marketing manager position at a multi-million-dollar sports brand, and it all started. There's a bug. It all started by building the relationship with someone that I met on Twitter, and it was just a natural thing. He was posting things, and I would just respond, and I think it went on for like a good 4, 5, 6 months, and he actually went by a different name. He didn't actually use his real name. So for the longest time, I didn't know who he was. And as I dug deeper, I figured out who he was and what he did. And so we started kind of communicating a little bit more over time. And again, I might have like a few hundred subscribers. It had nothing to do with my subscriber count at all. And the engagement with I was just kind of like treating it as like a room of sort of friends that I, message or whatever. But I basically, one day saw a post on LinkedIn, that he was actually looking for some help within the email marketing world. And so I was like, all right, this is my opportunity here, because I've already built this relationship, not even knowing that where he was at was looking for help. So then I went back right over to Twitter and I sent him a DM and I was like, yo, are you still looking for somebody? And he said, yes, absolutely. Let's jump on a call. And jumped on the call. I landed I think we had 1 or 2 calls, but I ended up landing the job. It was a contract role for a good, 8, 9 months, but then they hired me full time, and back in December. That was incredible. And so that was really what made that transition. Again, it wasn't about my follower count or anything like that. It was just about, connecting with people and making real relationships. And that's something that I wanted to kind of discuss today. And, just kind of, I feel like that a lot of people think that they need all these likes and subscriber count. And it's funny, all these other YouTubers or whatever, people that are using YouTube for their businesses, I think most of the time they will always, I hear it a lot where they'll say, hey, YouTube is saying 70% of you guys aren't even subscribed to me, but yet there's people who are still watching. You know what I mean? So it's subscriber count doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's who's reaching out to you, connecting. Who are you reaching out to, connecting? Does your story and does your experience resonate with people? And that's really what it boils down to. And so when I upload, I just upload and then just move on. I'm not worried about how many subscribers I have. This is something that I'm wanting to do or will be doing, am doing for the rest of the business, for the rest of my life, essentially. And so I'm not in a hurry to try and get to a certain point. This is just what I do. And so again, that's kind of what we've been, discussing today. And that's essentially what what I'm trying to sort of convey and sort of help people with, kind of understand that, including just really just helping myself truly understand that. And I have to remind myself, that's another point of making these videos is it's a reminder. I think maybe Hormozy said this. It's people need to be reminded more than they need to like be taught. And so it's just like constant repetition of these like core principles that really truly matter. And so, but yeah, I'll cut it off there. That's basically what we're doing in the free community I mentioned earlier, the Unconventional Path. If that's something, or if this is something that you know, like hearing about, talking about, man, would love to have you come in and introduce yourself, get closer, and just like build that relationship, just as I was mentioning earlier. But yeah, that'd be awesome. But other than that, I'll see you next time. Peace.